conceptual perspective, then people talk about a desirable success. All of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise. Hey, how much am I willing to give up and are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that everyone is having a good week so far. If you're down here in Texas, you're getting a lot of rain because, you know, down here in southern Texas, you know, you just have tropical storms and tropical depressions that just pop up right off the coast and decide to come on shore. You know, you start out with a week, you know, projected to be sunny and everything else. Next thing you know, there's flash flood watches and all kind of other stuff happening. So we're getting some consistent rain for the next 24 hours or so as this now tropical depression, at least last I checked, it went from a tropical storm to a tropical depression as it passed over Houston, and now it's headed up to Midway, Texas, to northeast Texas, and doing whatever, but we're still catching rain for that. Nothing real major, at least from where I'm at, but enough to have everybody concerned. The kids on kids where I'm from went to school, but I know there were some districts that closed down. But nevertheless, hey, it's what it is. As always, there's information in the description box or the post box, depending on where you're going to actually watch this video at. If you're watching it live or here on Facebook, it's in the post box that you can read. There are links to books. There's a questionnaire to fill out if you want to work one-on-one with me. You can do all of that. So I'm not going to get into it real deeply because I want to get into what I want to talk to you about. Today is Wednesday, Relationship Wednesday. And I got my topic from hanging with the little lady last night. You know, we close out our nights, at least try to close out our nights, you know, before we go to sleep, kind of sharing some time with one another. Maybe, you know, I do my TV watching downstairs in my own little created man cave space, and she does most of her TV watching upstairs. I don't get to do a lot, but when I do, I chill, normally get a little something to drink and a cigar or whatever and do whatever. But anyway, when I get ready to go upstairs, you know, I do what I do. When I get ready to go to her, to the bedroom, you know, it's to go spend time with her. And she likes to watch Divorce Court. And I'm like, man, I don't want to watch no Divorce Court. But, you know, you sit down with her, that's her space. So I'm not controlling that. Whatever you watching, I'm watching, because my thing is I'm in here with you. And so what I started to learn is Lynn told her, you know, she throws out some gems. Number one is I love it because she's transparent. You know, she doesn't pretend to have this perfect marriage that's always been together. She talks about some of her shortcomings, some of the things she had to deal with her husband, and a number of other different things that she uses as insight to give advice and to, you know, do whatever she does on the show. And, you know, obviously it's a reality type show. So, you know, I'm pretty sure some of it, you know, is set up and staged, but the gems that she throws out. And so I'm looking and I'm going, okay, here's a good one, you know, where she was chastising a young lady for making her husband's life miserable, you know, just jumping on it for every little thing. You know, he comes in from work and tired, and she's immediately attacking him and tearing him down and yelling at him, and she goes from 0 to 10 about the slightest little provocations. I mean, everything from what the one that started it was she would literally get mad if he gets out of bed before she wakes up. She gets ticked off. She wants him to literally stay in bed until she gets up. She needs to wake up with him in the bed, and so she literally goes off about that. And so that started it, but we found out, you know, she has just a temper, and she's been trained to be angry. You heard me say this before. People get addicted to certain emotions because if you get angry a lot, anger is really a mechanism, a coping mechanism for either fear or hurt. So if you're fearful that you're going to be hurt, or if you've been hurt, or if you're anticipating hurt, you can develop anger. You can develop a number of different responses, but hers was anger. Well, here's the thing. When you get angry, your brain releases a certain chemical that makes the body feel a certain way. Same thing with fear, same thing with joy, happiness, worry, anxiety. There are these different chemicals that create a certain state in the body. So the body feels a certain way. Well, what happens is if you get angry enough, the body starts to become addicted to it. And what will happen is you will literally find any reason whatsoever to get angry because you need to get there in order to feel normal. Anger is a part of your normalcy. And that's in a mental state, emotional state, and physical state that you created for yourself. And you have to find a way to get out of that. Normally, if you've been doing it for a while, it may even require that you have professional help. But being angry over a period of time consistently will lead to an addiction to anger. And it literally can be felt in the body, and the body is going to demand the chemical state that it's in the most. That's what it will become addicted to. If you're happy all the time, the body will demand reasons for you to be happy. It'll literally make your brain find a reason to be happy. That's the place you want to be, is that you create this state where you're fulfilled, you're joyful, you're happy, you're grateful. And then when you do it long enough, your body will literally demand that you find the reasons to find that state so that it can feel normalcy. But if you have anger all the time, if you're worried all the time, if you're stressed all the time, then you are going to find, you ever looked up at somebody like, that was really not something to just go off the hinge about. Really, you tripping about that? And they can't explain it because all they know is they've been looking for a minute for a reason to go off, and there it is. So they jump on it. And you're looking like, wow. But that's because they're addicted to it. Anyway, what Judge Toller, what Judge Lynn Toller told her was, look, stop jumping on him. Stop treating that way. You got a good man. You need to start find you some space, create some environment for him. Because if you keep jumping on him, every time he comes home, he's going to stop coming home. You have literally made your home door, the door of your home, the doorway to hell. And eventually he's going to stop coming to hell. And so that sparked this thing. And like, you know, and it went off, and it's like, we don't create the right environments for success. We don't create the environment to have optimal relationships. We're bringing old feelings, old hurts, old state of minds, old senses of being into new situations, and we're transferring toxic environments into new opportunities. And that is happening not just in marriages, but in business partnerships, in friendships, and so many other ways. I love talking about marriage, to me, because I think that's the most potent institution in the world, is marriage. But here it is. You've got this environment, but it's toxic. Why? Because you brought old baggage into a new opportunity, into a new situation. And so what do you have to do? You have to catch yourself. You have to find ways to create the right state of mind to produce the right environment. Because see, whoever you have has potential. If they're healed and they're not dealing with brokenness, then they have this optimal level of performance where they show up and show out. And maybe that was some of the things that you fell in love with about this person, is that when they're around, you feel whole. When they're around, you feel safe. When they're around, you feel elevated. Why? Because they show up and they show out in their wholeness. They become a lot of the things you need. They are reciprocating through an environment that's non-toxic by being their best self and allowing you to expand who you are and become more powerful. But what happens is, if you consistently inject toxicity into the environment, if the environment becomes consistently and constantly hostile, then what will happen is it will suppress the very things that made them who they were, that drew you to them, and they will become withdrawn. They will become defensive. They may even reciprocate the hostility. It's your responsibility to make sure. It's not your responsibility to make your partner happy. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that. It's not your partner's responsibility to make you happy. It's your responsibility to create an environment where your partner can be everything that they desire to be. And it's their responsibility to reciprocate that to you. It's up to you to find the things that fulfill you. It's up to them to give you the permission to by creating the right environment and saying, I got you. I don't tell my wife what to do. I don't tell her what she shouldn't or should not do. I have my opinions, but my wife will tell you every time she goes, baby, I'm thinking about doing it. Baby, you can do it. You got it. What you want from me. I give her permission to feel her way through things that she's never experienced before. I allow that space because I know how important it is. That's one of the things that we have to get in relationships, that relationships do not allow for selfish endeavors. Relationships do not allow for you to go in only thinking about how you're going to come out of it. That's very selfish, it's very toxic, and it's very dangerous. What you want to be is an environment creator that creates environments that are optimal. There's plenty of safe space. There's plenty of room to make mistakes. There's plenty of love and support, encouragement. And it's a place where, you know, my whole thing is, I say this all the time, and we live in a world where it used to apply solely to men, but now with women in the workforce and having to fight against all of the different things that they have to fight against to compete and to hold positions and to strive for success. When you walk out of the room, when you walk out of the house, you're walking into a hostile situation. The moment you walk out of the door, you're walking in a hostile situation. You got to go through traffic. You got to get out. Then you get to a workplace where you got certain people that don't like you, that's probably doing things to undercut you. You got a boss that may be over demanding. You got a company that really doesn't recognize the gem that you are, and they are using you without compensating you, or they're taking advantage of you without properly addressing your true value to the company, and you got to fight that war all day long. The last thing you want to do is get back home, walk through the door into another hostile. You have to have a safe space. And women have safe spaces outside the home, and I think men should too. But I think the home should definitely be an automatic, making the other safe spaces just different options when you want to get out of the house. But the home has to be a safe space. Your home has to be a solitude. Your home has to be a place that's sanctified and cleared and set up for you to walk into and literally start to experience restoration, regeneration. That's so important, and it's the responsibility of our mates, and for us to our mates, to create an environment that says, when you get home, I got you. It doesn't mean it's one-sided. It means that you're the one thing you won't have to worry about is me being a stressor on a day you just had a stressful day. When you come home, I'm going to make sure that whatever is within my power, I'm going to do to help you release, to help you relieve all of the tension, all of the pressure, all of the things that you're going through. It's immensely important to understand that in building a relationship, your job is to facilitate. And in an ideal situation, you can sort of relinquish the need to look out for you because you've entrusted that to your mate. And that's a hard thing to do in a world where most of us have been hurt more than once. You want me to trust my well-being to somebody. See, in order to be the type of relationship you need it to be, you're going to have to. Why? Because you're going to need to put your energy into giving them what they need. And you're going to have to trust that they reciprocate. Now, if they're not reciprocating, then you have a decision to make. But if you want a relationship that is powerful, that is nurturing, that is growing and becoming stronger, then you can't be seated inside or centered in self. You've got to be willing to say, you know what, I got you. And there's got to be a part of you that's driven to it. It has to be a part of you that literally gets fulfillment out of being that person. You have to have that. You have to have that desire where it's not about me. It's about what I can do. And then, I am grateful that I'm at a point in my life that some of the greatest satisfaction that I encounter each and every day is actually satisfying her. It's meeting her needs, meeting her desires, making her feel loved. That's where I get the most fulfillment from. The other stuff in life, you can go out and chase it. I've done all that. I've chased stuff. I've did stuff. I've bought stuff. Stuff that I wish I hadn't bought, but I did. That couldn't fulfill me. But loving my wife, that takes me to a whole entire different level of fulfillment. It makes me a better father. It makes me a better businessman. It makes me a better counselor and therapist, a better coach. It makes me better at the things I do, because at the pinnacle of my value system is marriage. And I'm experiencing it at a level that is just unbelievable. But I work at it. And I work at it with a person who works at it. No, it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but perfect is the aim. Did you get that? Perfect is the aim. Perfect becomes complete when it's done. And when you're in a marriage, it's never done until one of you has passed along. So that's when it becomes perfect. Not without flaw, but complete. And see, that's a part of the definition of perfect that most people lose. People are looking for flawless instead of complete. See, you can never have flawless, but you can have complete. And that's what we should be working for perfection in the way of completion. Did I get it done? Did I finish what I started? See, doing it right now is good. It's necessary. It's important. Doing it good is important. It's necessary. Hello, but here's the thing. If I ever fall off, if I ever fall back, if I ever never get it completely done, then I failed. So it's never just, okay, I finally reached it. No, when I reach it, I will have died. And if I died having always carried it out to the best of my abilities, there are going to be hiccups. But there should never be a time that you intentionally wrong your mate. I don't care what's happened, what's going on. So then my situation is to intentionally love her. And there'll be times, I may forget something that I should have remembered. There may be some times that I'm in a hurry and I don't say things right. Those things are going to happen. And sometimes things are going to be taken out of context. What I'm trying to get across is that when you finish this thing, when I pass away, and it's my hope that I pass away before her, because part of it is, I don't want to leave her behind, but I'm hoping that we live this long, enjoyable life. Maybe at 100 or something, I leave, and then sometime after that, whatever it is, she follows. But and if that's the case, when I leave here, she can look up and say, he loved me to the end. He loved me to the end. It's perfect now. Why? Because he completed what he started. He didn't dump it along the way when it got rough. He didn't dump it along the way when this went on. He didn't dump. There's so many things that are going to come in a relationship, that's going to come in a marriage over the time, that you're going to have to be prepared to go through some things. It's not all about what happens. See, most people spend more time invested in the wedding than they do the marriage. Have you committed yourself to go the distance to complete what you start? That's it. That's what I have for you today. I'm not going to stay any longer. Look, as I always say, live your life on full so that you die on E. Live your life on full so that you die on E. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Like I said, you can get both of the books with the link in there. You can fill out the questionnaire, send it in to the support team, and they will schedule an appointment for you to sit down with me. Look, we can't continue to spurn God's greatest institution, and that's the marriage. That's where values are taught to children at an age that they'll be inculcated into their mind, their psyche, at a level that they will be instilled and unshakable. It is the place where boundaries are set and goals are set, and children are strengthened and grown and properly prepared and educated. And if we don't set the right environment, we're just creating more dysfunction and chaos. It's time to work on it. You guys have an unbelievable day. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I got so much to get done today. And um, with that notion, you guys look for me a little bit later. I think I'm going to come back a little bit later, but definitely have a great day. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. I hope that you guys are off to a great start as far as your week is concerned. I hope that you are uh, coming off of a good week where things went well, were profitable, prosperous, and productive. Even if it wasn't, make a recommitment this week, make the necessary adjustments, and get back in the game. This is a marathon. This is a game of perseverance and resilience. It is about making the necessary adjustments. It's about remaining committed and finishing what you're starting. Not everything is going to go your way. That's something that you're going to have an understanding of and be okay with, because things simply happen. Nobody's perfect. No situation is perfect. There's always going to be something that you're working against. That is a part of the process. You have to prepare yourself to be in process. You have to give yourself permission to be in process. The moment that there's nothing wrong with the pursuit of perfection. But what you have to understand is the pursuit of perfection is the pursuit of completion. And in the pursuit of completion, you are going to be always moving towards it. When you're complete and finished, you're done. That means you finished your work. That's the end of the game. That's when you shut it down and you call it a wrap at the end of life. When you look up and you are able to read the pages of your legacy that you've built, that you're leaving the world, that's when you reach perfection, is when it's done. It's not about everything being absolutely in alignment. Perfection is completion. It means that what you started to do has been absolutely done to its fullest. There's nothing left to do. And so you're pursuing perfection, but perfection is a far way off. What you're doing is you're going through the process of achieving perfection. And in the midst of that, you're going to have disruptions. You've got to be okay with that. That's just simply the way it is. I'm going to be brief again this week, but I just want to hit something home. There are a number of different things that are at the top of the list, say the top 10 reasons why people fail at business. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is definitely in the top 5. And it's an unwillingness or an inability to invest in oneself. And when I say that, I mean in every way possible. Investing time, investing energy, investing effort, investing capital, currency, and resources into yourself. I see people all the time attempting to fund business ideas that they have not invested in themselves. One of the things that an average venture capitalist or angel funder or someone that understands what investment in business and venture is, one of the things they're going to look at, how much have you already put in of your own resources, whether it's time, energy, effort, money. They're going to want to see what's invested. Just the idea alone is not going to attract true investors, people who will put in the money necessary to fund your idea. There's money out there. There's always capital out there. There's always resources. And I tell people all the time, your number one resource is your resourcefulness. It's not the money you have in the bank. It's not the people you have on speed dial. It's not your potential investors. It's your resourcefulness, the ability to know what you need and find a way to get it. That's going to be what holds you together. That's going to be what provides the confidence to create calmness in some very hostile and volatile situations as you're trying to work this thing out. It is a process. But the thing is, that most people want something, but they don't want to invest in it. I tell people all the time, what I see with most people is they have a wish list versus a list of goals, aspirations, and and benchmarks. And what's the difference between goals and wishes? Goals are something you look at, you measure the cost, and you pay the price. Goals are something you sit up and you say, okay, I'm going to have to put this in. I'm going to have to invest this. I'm going to have to take this much time. I have to do this. Then you pay the price and you reap the reward. A wish list is those things. Is a list of things people want but are not willing to pay for, not willing to put in the work for, not willing to be committed to. That's a wish list. It's just something on paper that looks nice, and it would be fun if you were able to do it. It would be great if you were able to have it. But the truth of the matter is you're not putting in the work. You're not investing. You're not putting skin in the game. And then you'll turn around and want people to support something in which you have not supported. Sitting up and saying you want to do it, sitting up saying that you're good enough to do it is not enough. You have to be able to put in the work. You have to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to take some of your own paper and invest it in yourself, invest it in courses, invest it in material, invest it in inventory, invest it in whatever it needs to grow you. You're going to have to invest in yourself at some point in time. You're going to have to become better than you are, because you have people out there that are competing for the same market, and you have to have an understanding of how you're going to establish and distinguish yourself in the market. You can't go into a market and think just because you're offering something that people will automatically gravitate to it. So you got to know how to brand. You're going to have to invest in your branding, in your marketing campaign. You're going to have an ad spend. I don't care what it is you're doing. Organic business is great. It's a good supplement, but primarily you got to have a tried and proven method of driving business to you. And then you got to have a tried and proven method of retaining the business, because that's business longevity, not conversion, but retention. And you have to understand that conversion is turning someone that's not a customer into a customer. Businesses live off of retention, taking customers you have converted and retaining them through developing relationships with them that create what we call trust. And that's where you get your customer loyalty from. It's in the process of knowing how to do all of these things, but that doesn't come free. That has a cost to it. And what I see and what really bothers me is how many people want something that they're not willing to invest in. And then they expect someone else to invest in them. You are going to have to be your first investor. You're going to have to find, I don't care if you don't have a dime in your pocket, you've got to find a way to put some skin in the game. You got to find a way to be invested. You got to show somebody the effort you've put into being what you say you're going to be if they back you. That may be 10,000 hours of research and analytical processing that says, I've literally put 10,000 hours into understanding this. I know the market inside and out. Here's my plan. This is how it will work. This is how it compares to this. I've done this work. I've put it in. And then if you've got money, you can't hold money and expect to get money. You're going to have to put some money out there, invest in some things that will bring back a reward. You've got to understand that principle. You are going to have to be willing to put money in the game, put energy in the game, put effort in the game to a point where you literally develop momentum spiritually. I know we're talking business, but you've got to develop a momentum spiritually that the universe is hearing you, that the universe is responding to you, that the universe is answering your demands. And life and the universe and whatever else you want to say will pay whatever price you demand, but it's going to have a counter demand. If you say you want this business, the universe is going to demand that you sacrifice some time. If you say you want this business, the universe is going to demand that you take some money that you might want to spend on a vacation or something else and invest it in this business idea. The universe is going to demand that you prove that you're consistently, entirely committed to having it. And then the universe is going to say, now I'll meet you halfway. I will conspire with you to produce this thing you want. It has to be done in that way. I cannot stress this enough. With that being said, I'm going to check out of here. Got so much more to do, but I had to stop by this morning and give you this. This is, take it at face value, take it for what it is. But I'm telling you, if you don't invest in you, you can't expect anybody else to. And there is just this dynamic that is created when you put blood, sweat, tears, and money into something you believe in. You really truly own it, and it becomes a part of who you are, and it becomes a dynamic force that moves you forward. You know, it's just a wish until you put some skin in the game. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. As I always say, live your life on full so that you die on E. Have a great day.
From a conceptual perspective, people talk about it as all of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and commitment, and are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed